All right, this week we have something pretty interesting. We did a live interview with Jody Regan at her show in Hingham. I thought this was something that we had discussed on the podcast, possibly doing, getting the stories behind the artwork. I thought it was really interesting. I hope you think the same. We are hoping to do some more interviews like this in the future. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, there's flag and there's flags.
Yep. Oh,
Interesting.
I'm trying to see if there's a flag on the swan boat. Swan boat's in the public garden. I'm surprised that one hasn't gone yet. Everyone loves the public garden.
I love the public garden. It's just fun to sit in Boston and draw things.
Yep. Yeah. No, I particularly like the buildings. Like the line drawings on the buildings, I think is really like interesting. I like the windows. I just like I really like that one. And there's another one too. That one, and there's one down there.
And
like I don't know, maybe it's like the city scenes or something like
I
that.
love
drawn
the
to.
city. So through this whole 5 years doing this, what
Mhm.
I've discovered is I love being in the city, drawing all the busyness. And when you have something like this, you can edit how many where am I going with windows?
Mhm.
You can be as detailed as you want.
Yep.
So anytime you draw, you might have or paint, you might have a sense of what's the density that I'm after. So I'm moving along, and then at some point I decide that's where I like it. That's where I'm comfortable with it. Same with people in the city.
What is now? We have the people board, and then this board is the
Marine board,
Marine board.
and water-ish board, and there's a miscellaneous board at the end. So these are just scenes that have to do with water.
Yeah.
So a place I love to be, I don't know how many things I have in here from it, but if you sit in Situate Harbor, like in the back of Lucky Finn, the coffee shop, they have, little bench in the back.
Yep.
And you can sit out there. I don't remember. I don't know if I drew these from there or from the other side because they're facing out and you wouldn't see them. So I even have some more drawings I've done completely into the rigging. So fascinating, like the industry of it. And then these are both actually these three are up on Monhegan.
That's Monhegan.
Yeah.
Flag.
So in my book, I had a note that I was sitting down by the water on the rocks, and I painted both of these on the same day from the same spot. I just went at it a completely different way. So this is looking southwest. There's the mainland way over there. And this one, I'm just looking north back up to the village. I just had completely different. This one's all watercolor. I left the whites there. I didn't use any gouache in there, so I left the whites to preserve them for the froth.
Yep.
But they look completely different, but they're from exactly the same spot.
Yeah, different palette, right?
Yep. And then I love the big tank at the aquarium.
Yep.
So
is that what those ones are from?
They are. So there's a live cam of that tank, and you can just have it on. I used to have it on in my classroom while the kids were working. I would just run that silently, and those are some screen captures I got out of there.
Better than a fish tank.
Yeah. Because Myrtle's so awesome. And if you've been there, you can go all the way up to the top of the big tank, and the light comes down and just hits her back. So I can tell by the light on her back that she's close to the top there and not farther down, because the light doesn't filter that far down. A friend of mine, she's sitting here drawing. That's her thing. It's so
it's
amazing.
beautiful.
Oh, isn't that amazing in there? Yeah, it's so.
That one's already sold too. The red dot on that one.
Yes, that's nice. Everywhere you go in there. So what's nice around the courtyard is under these arches, and there's benches, along the side, so you can sit on those benches and nobody sees you, and you're just hanging out drawing everything. This is the room up here at the end of the courtyard where the paintings were stolen.
Yep.
And so everybody goes to that room, and then they come out on the balcony. So if you want people, and it's not this is a hybridization of people that showed up.
Yeah.
Like most of my people are. There's a person, there's another person, so you just make something up from them.
Yeah, it's cool. Did most people recognize it as the gunner?
They did. But I had been in Mexico last February, so people thought it might be in Mexico because there's that same terracotta feeling, which I really like. So, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go back there soon. I hadn't been in a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure that. Just when you just sit and draw in there, that
Just
must
sit.
be, there's plenty of subject matter.
Well, it's so
Empty
satisfying.
frames.
And that's something I learned about doing all this too, is everywhere I am,
Yep.
there's something beautiful. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. Sitting in a parking lot,
Yep.
anywhere, there's just always something that's really eye-catching. It makes you appreciate the world.
Well, that's about being present, right? Like
It
just,
is.
yeah.
And then you can disappear. Even though I'm 6 feet tall, I have this skill of being invisible. Sometimes it's not my favorite thing, but it's like a superpower. And sometimes it is my favorite thing. So I can just kind of sit, and nobody will notice me, and I can take everything in.
They don't get nervous that why she's
Um,
drawing me.
Sometimes in a restaurant or something they do, and then as soon as they come by and they see I'm not making a portrait of them, everybody's fine.
Yeah.
I got a tip from some urban sketcher online so let's say she's sitting in a coffee shop or a pub or wherever. She said, if you're going to draw the people in there, you should always pick the ones where their glass is full, because they're staying. If you pick somebody whose glass is empty, they're not sticking around that long potentially, And I thought, that's simple thinking, but it's a great idea. And this is Newbury Street. We went in the evening one time, and so this is their Shake Shack on Newbury Street. I was sitting on a little, not on the curb on the street. They had a little tiny foot-high wall, and I was just sitting there waiting for someone to call. There's their little Shake Shack.
So that one, so something like that, is that something you've sketched out and then you transferred into a painting?
No, I drew it there, so there's ink under there, and then when I got home, I draw with the pen over the top of the gouache. And I didn't use a photo. I don't use a photo to paint these, depending on how thick the gouache is.
So there's drawing,
may or may
just
not
because
take
some
as
of
well. And
so
I
when you
draw
draw
with a
underneath
fine
that,
point
is that
Sharpie,
like
which people say to me,
like a sketch, or is that is strong of
it's as
like a
strong
pen?
as that.
It's
So
just
that's
you're
what I'm
going
comfortable with. I also have
like a little bit further, because I love how the pen shows through on a lot of them.
Yeah, and I just so the gouache will go right over the pen.
So with the gouache, like, can that be like obviously watercolor is like thinner. Can gouache be watered down, and that's how you apply it, or is that is it always like the consistency of it like always heavier?
It's not always heavier. In fact, a lot of people paint with it very thin in layers.
Because when I think of gouache, I think of like watercolors. But this feels like almost like more like acrylic,
Well, it's kind of my thing. Like because I was an oil painter and I still am an oil painter, I pick it out a little bit thicker. So some of this is quite thick.
Yeah.
You don't want to get it too thick. I did that one time and it cracked.
Yeah.
6 months down the road. But this is water-based gouache. So if I layer, like I layered here, or I've done a little bit of in there, so you water it down and you make a layer that will reactivate what's under. So you just have to be careful with that. There's also acrylic-based gouache, which I haven't used.
Yep.
So you can layer it really carefully, and you think about transparency, and it's going to mix with what's underneath. I'm just starting to use it, and I'm loving it. I mean, I love it. This is all gouache.
Yeah.
Just some flowers in the side of my yard.
Yep. More red dots.
Oh, well, that's nice.
We get a total of those.
It's pleasant.
Yeah. That looks super familiar, and I feel like it's the sign that I'm. So, have I seen that one?
Yeah, this is I think it's called the Village Florist. It's in Hingham Square.
Hingham Square, okay.
So there's the coffee shop.
The awnings.
And then there's those steps just below the Historical Society. This is, I would say that must be North Street there.
Okay.
Or South Street. I don't know. The one-way piece goes right there.
All right, and what board do we got here? We got this.
I don't know. Should you guess?
I'm gonna guess. It looks like a lot of it looks like bars. No, but there's people up top.
There's churches.
Churches.
So
the fish market I like. That's what we just repaired. Where's that fish market?
That's actually down in Sarasota. So we were down there visiting some friends. I love that painting. I love it. Just the place. I love him.
Yeah, no, I think you're drawn to him when you look at that one.
Yeah, he's so interesting and he's thinking. I like his posture. So this is a board of interiors.
Yeah, interiors.
Although this one isn't exactly an interior, but there's
the interior of the heart of the city, right?
So these are here's North River, the art festival.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. That's another one I'm super drawn to.
So, you gallery sit over there for a few hours. So I was gallery sitting, and it was fun to draw.
Is that from the festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's great. I love, in the red wall, like just being so familiar with that space.
Yeah.
And what do you remember? Like, how accurate was that to the layout of the?
Exactly.
I think I'm gonna have to buy that one because, like,
Cool.
I'm assuming that I staged
I'm
that.
sure you did.
That's-
So this is exactly accurate to what was there. I mean, people can't tell what their painting was,
28,
and So I remember I put up another one inside North River one time, and
Yeah.
what's her name? Gleason, whatever her first name is. I'm sure she gets stuff framed with you. Marcia Gleason.
Yeah.
I love her paintings, and she does a lot of oil self-portraits. Anyway, she saw it on my Instagram. She said, "There's my painting," and her painting was she could tell, which was great.
Yeah, no, that one's super cool. I mean, just the significance of going down there and hanging in that show for like the last.
I know you do such a good job, and this is like a perspective challenge. But
Yeah, but it's interesting. Even even before like thinking about the fact that it's like a show that I was involved in, like just that red wall, like how it splits the
it really pulls your eye.
Yeah.
When you are outside on the street. So when I was teaching math at the charter school, everybody also teaches projects, which and I had an art project. So every year I would bring my kids to the member show usually, and many of them never been to an art show. So we would talk outside first about how you look at an art show, and then I had clipboards for them, and they had to answer a few questions. Which piece do you like better? Why do you like it better than the one next to it? And then they had to draw one. And then they had to make a value study and 3 values of the piece that they liked the best. So it was the best field trip. We'd bring lunch, sit in the yard, and go in. But just to see them.
Should do that for adults too. Get people familiar with buying art.
Yeah,
like
it's a really good idea. And they were mesmerized, by when they looked around. We'd explain what the tags meant. That a lot of them are.
We might have to post that. What do you still have the lesson plan?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean. I think anything that helps people feel more comfortable and understand why they like certain things, because I mean, like to me, that one I'm drawn to just because of my connection to North River.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great piece too.
Well, and it pulls you. It pulls you in. I mean, let's go explore.
But it's if I didn't know you and I didn't know, just seeing that piece, I'd be like, and it's a steal, $250, can't go wrong. But like that's like that's the connection to that piece is important to me, too. Like just knowing that red wall and like that, all those things and what a pain in the ass they were to set up.
They are a pain. The worst thing there is that not the front wall because it's a standalone, but these flaps, as we call them. I put the nails in to hang all the ribbons on. It's torture. So, all right, let's go back to positive. So a tip so for all those out there, if you are taking kids especially or someone who doesn't look at art, but kids, this works, to a show, and they're going to be impatient. You're there maybe to look at the show. So you just look at them and you say, see all those paintings are there? And you just can say to them, I want you to pick your favorite. And I want you to come up with 3 sentences why you like it better than the one on both sides. And then that engages them. It gives you 5 minutes to look around, 5 if you're lucky, probably 3.5. But it's a really good question to ask kids. And then they really start looking.
Yeah, well, it forces you to think about it too,
and
right?
they get to say things more than I like it because it had a dog. They have to say more things. Which is interesting. This is the pizza place down the street here.
Okay. Yep.
Peel,
Yep. And is that the bakery in or?
That's 5 South Main in Cohasset.
Okay.
So that I don't know if you've been in that cute little restaurant. It's awesome. They have great food. We use them a lot. I know the family from school.
Yep.
But during COVID, we ordered takeout from them frequently to help them.
Yep.
Out.
And what restaurant is that one?
I don't know. This is somewhere near. This was like before a Bruins game.
Yeah.
There's some pub nearby, and I like how I did this tonally. But again, I love the design of this piece for some reason. leaving all this negative space where the chairs are.
Yep.
So I don't know the name of it. We were in the back corner before we went to a Bruins game
Yep.
a little while back. And then I love the theater district. I have a subscription to Broadway in Boston with my daughter.
Yep.
And so we're down there all the time. Every time you go, it's so exciting. And we
Yep.
go at night. It's inviting.
Yeah, no, that one feels like, it feels like you can feel the excitement in that piece. Like you can feel like the, getting ready to go into a show.
Yeah, when she got out of college, I said to her, hey, why don't we do this? I'll subscribe. You can pay your half of the subscription, or you can take me to dinner every time we have the theater.
What's the subscription cost?
It depends on where your seats are.
Yeah. So it's just like season tickets, basically.
Yeah, it is. And you go to 6 or 8 a year, and
Yep.
sometimes, and you don't have to go to all of them. I think there's a minimum number you can go to, but we go to everything.
Yep.
We've seen amazing things that they've done. We're going to see Hamilton in January.
Yep.
It's coming to Boston. So she opted to bring me to dinner every time, which is super nice.
Yeah. It's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, it's very nice.
That one's sold too.
I told you my family came in on the weekend and took some home. Well, not home. Yeah, that's another thing about this show. It goes till January 5th, so people buying presents would have to take a picture of it and put it in a beautiful box.
Well, yeah, if they need help, we can help them with the presentation. I'm trying to come up with something for that at the store, so people with last-minute gifts and for online things, or for some, because we have like software that kind of like enables you to like visualize how something's going to look when it's done. So just trying to like put a
Plus, I have images of everything. So if that's something that you come up with, I can provide the images for that.
So we got almost some more nautical.
Yeah, so these are both off of the back of Lucky Finn.
Yep.
Right, and
it's not just bars, coffees too.
Oh,
you start with the coffees in the morning. No, I'm just
so those books that I have, those oblong books, do look like I'm in bars all the time, which I truthfully am not. Except that anytime you're out to eat, why not draw? And I think I tend to eat at pubs more than other places.
Yeah.
Actually, this is not at Lucky Finn. This is over by the gazebo.
Yeah.
And this is off Lucky Finn.
That feels like, I don't know if I've seen that boat or whatnot when I've been down there, but yeah, that one has that Situate. It makes me think of Situate Harbor for sure.
And when you walk by there in the evening, it's so nice because often there's another boat that's adjacent to this one usually, but it was out. But in the evening, a lot of times the lights are on inside the boat, whether they're cleaning up or I don't know what they're doing. It's very alluring.
All right, then we got our floral board.
We do have a floral board. Well, let me just talk about this one briefly.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So this is on Monhegan.
Monhegan
has a little island called Manana that's uninhabited. I'll just leave it at uninhabited. And it provides a sheltered harbor, even though Monhegan Island in Maine is 10 miles out in the ocean. Because this is here, there's a sheltered harbor where there's a village. And my friends that go there with me know that I have a crush on Manana. I mean, I'm writing a book with all these. So I've painted it now through seagulls. I've painted it through windows, over the tops of things, like so in the daytime on Monhegan, the sun comes up in the east, which is out there facing England, comes over Monhegan and it lights this up. And then as the sun goes towards the west in the day, this becomes like an hourglass and shadows start appearing and they get bigger and stronger and the light spaces get littler till they disappear. It's like it's a beautiful. I can't take my eyes off it. I look at it all day long.
Is there a lot of seagulls up there?
There are tons of seagulls.
Seagulls, yeah. I've never been to Monhegan. I gotta get up there.
It's a pretty cool place. So this was a Girls Just Want to Paint that I did. The theme was descent, and I just had this image of this, squawking gull.
Yep.
And there he is. So he's
the descending voice.
Yeah, he's just not with the crowd.
I like what you did here too, with like the outline of it. That's it has I just feel like that's like a really sometimes when framing things, like just like seeing that that rough edge of paper or like that imperfect aspect of it is kind of nice.
There's a lot there was a lot of I loved how I designed these gulls sort of bring your eye through and to see enough of Manana through there. It's fun to take a lot of pictures of gulls and just all their shapes. There's a lot of people who paint gulls. I mean, Jamie Wyeth has
Yep.
had an amazing show all about gulls.
Mhm.
And Andrew Winter was a Monhegan painter who has a lot of really cool gull paintings. Allison Hill lives there now. She paints gulls beautifully.
Was Wyeth in Monhegan?
Yeah, the Wyeths.
Is that?
So Jamie Wyeth's the surviving Wyeth, right?
Yep.
Of the three, NC Wyeth, Andrew Wyeth, and Jamie.
Yeah.
He owns a house on Monhegan on the very southern tip of Monhegan.
Yep.
That the artist, okay, what's his name? You know, the whales, and I'll think of his name in a minute.
Mhm.
Anyway, so he bought it from this artist whose name will come to me in a minute. So he's not there that often because the Wyeths have their own island. Actually, they just sold their island to maybe Bowdoin College's marine program or something. They had Allen Island that was about 5 or 6 miles north. But he is on the island. I've seen him walking around. He has a house, and hangs out and paints.
And there's a lot of artists up there. A lot of people like pilgrimage type of.
There are.
Or is that my imagination? I
No,
just feel
it's
like
true.
everybody I know that's an art, talks about it. I've never heard anyone talk about Monhegan that's not an artist. So.
Well, other people go there who aren't artists, but
they allow people. You're allowed to come if you're not an artist.
Yes, you can come if you're just a regular human being. So, but it's really nice on this tiny island, which is only 1.5 miles north to south and a half mile east to west. You can sit and paint, and Winslow Homer was sitting right where you are.
Yeah, that's something.
I mean, George Bellows was there. I mean, the people who painted there.
You pick up on you feel that energy.
You can feel it, and the light surrounds it, and it's also I could go on, but that'll be it for another day. But
But it has like that Provincetown type of effect where the lighting is just different than
it does
other
because
places.
it's surrounded by water. So only about 40 people live there year round. Although there is a school, there's a post office, there's a little store. There's in the summer there's a few more things, but in the summer, so you're looking west at the mainland, which is there. That's how big it is. And so weather comes. You can see that it's raining 10 miles away, and you see it's coming, and it comes fast sometimes. But Monhegan is a heat spot, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times the weather just comes and then folds up or splits. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's amazing.
I'll have to get there. How often do you go up there?
We're there the last 2 weeks of July every year.
Every year.
So if you go up the last 2 weeks of July, we have an open table. We have the best view on the island in the house we rent.
I'll
You just have to hike the hill to get there.
Whenever you and Jen start planning another trip, I'll have to keep those dates in mind.
20 years we've been going. Yeah, you just come for a few days and then you carry on.
Yep.